Hi, everybody. Bev Adamo with Wild and Wise Women, Wild and Wise Sisterhood. Thank you for showing up to your divine appointment. Thank you for being here at this divine appointment where we're going to talk about love, music, and the San Francisco Giants. What? What does love, music, and the San Francisco Giants have to do with Wild and Wise Women? Well, it has a lot to do with this Wild and Wise Woman, and in sharing with you, it's my intention to inspire you to stop dying your death and to start living your life. Wow. Did that cause any kind of, stop dying your death? What does that even mean? Or start living your life? What does that mean? Well, let's start at the story. So as some of you may or may not know, I have been blessed to experience many miracles and a lot of magic in my life. And it started, a long time ago. I've always been open to the magic and miracles. And one of the greatest ones occurred on January 20th, 2010. And on that date, my husband, Rick, died. His heart stopped, cardiac arrest, and both his daughter and my mom and I were present with him as he breathed his last breath, because simply his heart stopped and his soul left his body. And yet, there was something much bigger going on than what it appeared at the time. And when we arrived, that is to say, my daughter and my mom and I, when we arrived at the hospital along with Rick's body, something incredible happened. Something that even the emergency room doctor was exclaiming over and over again, this just doesn't happen, this just doesn't happen. And what happened was that Rick's heart restarted. He wasn't breathing on his own, but his heart restarted. And through a series of more miracles, he continued to live when there was no reason for him to live. Physically, there was everything about his physical condition said this man should not be alive, and yet he was. And through the process of that miracle that happened and all the miracles that happened, a book came out of that, The 3 Reasons, because whenever Rick and I would talk about his experience, our experience, the miracle, we really came to know that there were 3 reasons that he came back. 3 reasons that he came back to life. And those 3 reasons are love, music, and the San Francisco Giants. And when we talked about, love, and I talked about this with Rick, I said, love was great, for his daughter and me to come back and be with us and return to this life so he could share in his daughter continuing to go to high school and graduating and all of that. Wow, that's amazing. And I could, and in the conversation, Rick would say, yeah, really good reason to come back for sure. Like, oh, okay. And then music, oh my gosh, I mean, he was such an amazing musician, and there were literally songs that were within him that needed to be born here on this planet before he could take off and spend infinity with, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, all kinds of other amazing, cool people. There were songs that needed to be written on this earth, and it's one of the things that really drew him was the music. First his daughter and I, then the music. But I just have this picture of him, and I know it happened exactly like this, that he was in infinity in heaven and having this great conversation with God and anybody else that he wanted to talk to, because, I mean, you have access to everything when you're infinite. And so he's going over in his heart, his soul. Yeah, love. I really would like to come back, but you know what? I can do so much more for my family up here where I'm at. I don't need to be on the planet. I can be up here and watching over them. And music, like I said, there's so many incredible musicians here in Infinity. Why would I ever want to leave? So what happened was he was up there and he was looking at all of history, which he could see, you know, front and back and everything else. And he saw that same year, 2010, the San Francisco Giants baseball team, for the first time in 52 years, were going to win the World Series. And I got to tell you, that's the kicker that really brought him back into this life, was the San Francisco Giants, and knowing that that was going to happen, the World Series. Oh my God. And the point of the story today is that I know within each one of you that you have reasons for being here. We've talked about it in some of our other chats when we talked about the why crossroads. When you get to that crossroads of knowing, you know, why you're doing things, why you're even alive. Now, with Rick, he experienced a very hard reboot. You know, death is probably about the greatest reboot that you can get, and to come back into life. And what I've noticed from the book and from the inspiration, and it's been our intention to inspire people to know that maybe you do need a reboot in your life. Maybe you need to start looking at why you're here, why you're doing things, why it's important for you to be, what your purpose is. Maybe you do, but you don't need that hard reboot like he got. So instead, we took what his experience and distilled it in a way to invite each of you to look at, what are your 3 reasons? Why are you here? Now let's talk a little bit about those 3 reasons. You know, when I'm kidding a little bit and being a little bit funny about, you know, how love, yeah, maybe music, yeah, maybe San Francisco Giants, yeah, definitely. And yet at the same time, there's something about that. There's something about making sure that you have a foundation of love, that your why, your purpose, your reason for being here, your reason for doing everything has a connection to love. Whatever your foundation is, love is the place to start and it's the place to end. It is definitely going to be on your list of reasons of why you're here and what you're doing. Now, the music, for Rick, the music was, it was part of his soul, and yet it was a way to express himself that gave him individuality. It gave him joy. It gave him a way to serve others. He really served a lot of people in his music, not just the enjoyment that other people had from it, but he taught music. He was always very encouraging with music. He put pianos in as many people's homes as he possibly could. So his music was his way of serving. So love is a foundational reason. And then look at the reason that you're serving and how you're serving. Where can you serve in a way that completely lights you up, that brings you joy, and that can bring you money? Because that's one of the reasons that you want to be here on the planet. You want to be on the planet in a way that accesses your abundance. And that means money as well. So when you're looking at your 3 reasons, look at that. How can what brings your heart joy also bring that abundance and be a channel of abundance for you? And then this last reason, the San Francisco Giants. Again, that really was the kicker. And that's what I want to say to you about your life. There is something in your life that you might think is, or you might think other people think is, frivolous or stupid or not important, or it's a sport, it's a big deal, it's a competition, it's who cares who wins. It doesn't matter. For Rick, the San Francisco Giants were something that reminded him of growing up with his brothers and his dad, and going to the stadium and experiencing just this overwhelming joy in the world, something about the world that just really fed him. He had other things, of course, but this was the kicker for him, because they were winning the World Series that year that he died, and a great reason to come back. So when you're looking at your 3 reasons, allow that third reason to be something that you might not normally look at when you're being serious and all about purpose and things like that. Allow yourself to look to that place that maybe you think is kind of, weird or stupid or nerdy or whatever, and see what is there for you. What is there for you that's going to add that spice to your life, so that that amazing foundation of love that you have, that is one of your reasons for being here, that amazing part of something that lights you up and gives you joy, that then you can be in service doing that and open the channels of abundance doing that. And then look for that thing that's like, what is it? Where's my spark? Where's my, my frivolity? I encourage you, I invite you, I would love to know, what is your kicker that's really making you show up every single day? Is it something that you get to do with a friend? Is it something you do on your own? I don't know. What is it? I would love to know. And for Rick, it was his San Francisco Giants. So again, in talking about magic and miracles, when you have your three reasons, when you know what your three reasons are, and understand they can morph, they can change, they can do all kinds of things. The love is going to be there the whole time, and the other two may look differently at different times in your life. But when you have those three reasons, the magic shows up in everything. The miracles show up. Things that have no reason to be are. It absolutely works that way. And having those three reasons can be an extraordinary shortcut to get you through all the mundane and all the crap that you deal with and that shows up in our lives every single day. When you have those three reasons for why you're here, you will stop dying your death. And by that I mean, people who are dying their death, they complain. People who are dying their death feel unenergized and exhausted. People who are dying their death feel overwhelmed. They feel stressed out. They feel powerless. And understand that the only difference between dying your death and living your life is a choice. A choice that you get to make in any moment, like right now. That choice to know and to allow the universe to reveal to you, what are your three reasons? Why are you here? And why are you doing what you're doing? And as you make that choice, everything in your life will start to shift. As you go from dying your death to living your life, everything will change. Now, there's one other thing that I didn't originally think about in talking about this, and yet the universe has its way of presenting things for me. So when the email went out to our mailing list about this particular chat, it had love, music, and football. And when I saw the email, I thought, awesome. So what's that about? Well, here's what's that about. With Rick, before he died in 2010, he was an avid football fan. Actually, he was a Raiders fan, and I'm from Colorado, so I was a Broncos fan. So for any of you who know about football, it's amazing that we actually got together and got married, and the marriage lasted. But there was something that I did notice when he came back in 2010, when he came back from his reboot, from his being in the presence of God, the universe, the infinite, that shifted for him. He no longer, football was no longer his thing. It was that baseball that had moved up there for him, that spark that was there. So here's why football came into this whole conversation, is because I'm here to deliver the message that if there's something that you've been so devoted to all of your life, and in this choice of moving from dying your death to living your life, you discover that there are things that you no longer have that interest in, let them go. Let them go. Because that is just as important, allowing yourself the space to fill it with what fills you and what nourishes you, just as important. So whether it's football for baseball, or this relationship for that relationship, whatever is no longer serving you, it's okay. Let it go. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about love, music, and the San Francisco Giants, and how the magical, the miracles of knowing your 3 reasons of why you're here and being so in touch and conscious with love and your purpose and your sparkles that are out there that are ready for you to claim them. It's all for you. You can have it all. So until next time, be wild, be wise, and find your 3 reasons. They're right there in front of you. Love to you all.